everybody. This is Keith Gleason with another episode of Indie Comics Relay. And with me always is my good friend and co-host, Johnny C.
What's
How's it going,
up,
buddy?
It's Wednesday. You know what that means?
Another episode. What do you think of the new studio, dude?
I love it. That is awesome.
Let me make myself big here. So
Yeah, and big. Yeah, no Chuck.
Yeah. Oh, great. I we've been doing the show almost a year now. Can you believe that? Like about in 2 months, it'll be a year. And I was like, the more we've been doing it, the more like I wanted to get like a little more like professional and, and Amy got me this great headphones and like I got a nice mic here that she bought me for Christmas. And
nice.
and it's just like I felt like I needed to do everything else,
Yeah. You're way more professional than me. I'm on like a 12-year-old laptop. I've got like these headphones I inherited from somebody. Like I'm very much on a rinky-dink operation here, but it works and I make it work. So
yeah, well, at least you're not on like a Commodore 64 or something trying to do the show.
I know, right? But the background's fantastic, and you have all the great like cereal boxes.
Yeah, I tried to make like
comics.
just a fun. It's like my personality on a wall, basically.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's awesome. I'm loving it. I'm definitely loving it.
I'm excited to talk to our guest tonight. It's somebody that you know, right? That you.
Yep. So I know Grant through. So I travel around everywhere, but it also kind of puts me into different circles of comic creators. So I know comic creators from all over, but sometimes there's comic creators I meet that I don't know that are in my own backyard.
Oh, okay.
And that is our guest tonight. He is a fellow Massachusetts resident, and
awesome.
I can't wait to bring him on. We'll talk a little bit about his awesome book that he's got and a couple of his other creative endeavors.
Yeah, and we both had a chance to read it, and we both loved it. But we'll talk about that with our guest. So tonight's guest, his name is Grant Stoye, and let's bring him in right now.
Grant's also a sandwich aficionado.
A sandwich, awesome. Yeah, we'll have to get into that whole thing too and find out what that's all about.
You can't not.
Everyone loves sandwiches, right? I mean, can't go wrong. PB&J or whatever.
It's the perfect food.
It is. It's like you get one, you don't need anything else. You don't need the chips. You don't need anything. You just get the big hero. You're good to go.
Oh, I like chips on the side of my sandwich, though. I mean, like a classic Lay's. You can't go wrong.
Nice.
Really, put the chips on the sandwich?
I'm not a fan of that.
I've done that.
You have? I don't really like it.
With that. I've dabbled with that. I don't mind it. It's not so bad.
I think it definitely depends on the sandwich and it depends on the chips. There's a lot of plates spinning in the air.
Yeah, right.
I said it would be a sandwich power hour, and I.
Oh yeah, what do you got there? What do you got? Hang on, let me make Johnny big here. What do you got?
So this is actually a banh mi sandwich.
Okay.
From Viet Citron, VIET.
Okay.
CITRON, Burlington, Massachusetts. It's a Vietnamese sub, sirloin beef, jalapenos, pickled vegetables. It is awesome. So don't mind me as I eat a little bit of a sandwich in the background here.
Awesome. Well, so Grant, on our show, we've been like kind of doing this almost like 10 months now, I think. And the one thing we always ask our guests whenever our first question is we love the origin story on our creators. So we'd love to know, like, what was it that, what was the comic that you read or a TV show or cartoon that you saw when you growing up that, like once you read it, you're like, yes, I gotta get into this industry. I have to, I have to make my own book. What was that property or, comic that got you going?
Well, it sounds like so kind of cliched, but ever since I was a little kid, like maybe 3 or 4, we visit my grandparents, and this grocery store by their house had a spinner rack. Okay. Because I'm very old, you see.
Yeah.
And
I'm from the spinner rack crowd too. So.
Right. And it was Secret Wars number 11. Oh. It's the one where they're all worried because Doom stole the power of the Beyonder. And like they had this huge meeting, and they're all like, "What are we gonna do? He's gonna destroy us all." And then at the end of the issue, he destroys them all. Spoiler alert for 33-year-old comic book. But ever since then, it's just something about that medium with like how you're able to tell this almost cinematic story with words and pictures. It's just so seamless. And like when I was a kid, I made my own stupid comics out of like college-lined notebooks and stuff, and all I could draw were like giant splash pages. I couldn't do panels.
Yeah,
So
I think we all did.
You always had the creative spirit. You always kind of wanted to make something, write stories, tell stories, things of that nature.
Yeah. And my life has just been kind of a weird like journey to get to that point because I've worked so many dumb jobs, and it doesn't make sense how to get to this point. Like I've done data entry. I've worked at summer camps. I was a banker. Which kind of led me into working on Sidequest, which is really weird.
Oh, really? How so? Like how
did that? How did those two disconnect?
Yeah, how did banking turn kind of into like a comic thing?
Well, to get to the bank, I wasn't living in Grand Rapids, Michigan, with my wife. I was working in radio, and I was producing a sports talk drive time show. And it was awesome, and it was cool. But then some stuff kind of started going awry at the place where I was working, and I was kind of relegated to screening calls, and I wasn't very happy. So my wife was like, "Hey, my dream job just opened up at some school for the arts in Northern Michigan. Do you want to go?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." So we all moved up there, and it was great. And we loved the community. But the thing is, there aren't a lot of creative jobs up there that are available. It's a kind of in Traverse City. It's a place where people die on the job. Like they're not. Who's going to retire when you're working on the radio or working for like the Record Eagle? Like there's nothing.
What city was this again? What city?
This is in Traverse City, Michigan.
Michigan. Okay, yeah. It's supposed to be kind of bleak there. The whole state. The whole state, right? Like Detroit, especially.
Oh yeah, it's. I'll always love that state, but my gosh, it's just such a grind. Like it's beautiful to visit. I love living there.
Yeah.
But when you look at some of the places like Detroit and Flint, and just how so many areas of this place is we're getting screwed over. It's
yeah. You see it on the news and stuff. Yeah.
So it had that, and I was trying to find a job to work up in Traverse City where I could still have time to be creative, and I went through like a patron services position at Interlochen, the place where I worked at, and I think I just did some like other like part-time stuff, and I finally got this job at a bank because I needed to work. And in between helping people, I just kind of started taking notes on a story I wanted to do involving like someone who is a young adult working a job that they don't really like that much and coming home and feeling stressed out and stuff. And it seemed like I just got into Dungeons and Dragons at the time. And man, if you can't lose yourself in that, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, and you kind of merged both together, which, like anyone that reads the book will see that, what we're talking about. I feel for you because I'm the same way where you try to, and Johnny is too, where you're trying to, spark that creative fire, but you also don't want to be like the starving artist. Like you have that 9-to-5 job so that you have money to make your comic, or even have money to go to a convention. Because comics. If you're making money, you're working at DC or Marvel, and then sometimes even then you're not even making money. You know what I mean? So it's like
you don't get into it to make the money.
You don't get into it for money. You get into it for the love and and the
you get into it to farm that IP. You just gotta generate IP, get a Netflix deal.
Well, so if there ever was a story that I've read that I felt like I was kind of reading the manuscript for like a sitcom, it's Sidequest. That first issue very much feels like the pilot episode of a TV series, and the characters are so well rounded and well described, and they all have like just these nice, unique it's a very well woven story, and it's it's made for TV essentially.
Yeah. The
Know,
characters are really good, and it's funny. Like, it's funny and serious, and like, it hits all these notes. It's a mixture of a lot of different stuff, like genre, and it's really, really well done. I want to actually show it here. So let me bring it.
I want to see a TV series where Simon Pegg from 10 years ago is starring as your lead.
All right,
I still want to see Simon Pegg from 10 years ago as Huey on The Boys.
I know, right? I know. That's like the critically always like ever missed thing,
Let me zoom in a little bit here. I love this cover because it reminds me of an old module from like D&D. I'm assuming that's what you were going for.
Yeah, the distressed cover look was fantastic.
Fully worn, played through a ton of times.
The cover designer I work with, her name is Brenda Snell, and we were buddies in Grand Rapids. Her comic book store was right next to the building I worked at the radio station at. So I'd go over and just talk to them for like hours after work about comics and stuff. And she's a really talented graphic designer. And as soon as I told her, like, yeah, I was kind of thinking maybe looking like those old D&D books, like she got this idea and she made the textures and it was just beautiful. And Tobin Rossico, who also does the lettering and the interiors, he came up with the logo. Alaire did the circle thing, and like I'm just absolutely thrilled with how the covers turned out, and the issue 2 cover is also exceptional. And
geez, is the issue 2 going to be another module cover, or is it going to be more? Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah,
so keeping with the theme for the whole miniseries, kind of.
Yeah, and it's fun because we didn't know what color Brenda was going to choose for issue 2. So, like, when she revealed it to us, we're all like, "Oh, we were thinking it was going to be blue." So, the mini release party.
I'm impressed with this art team that you found too. I mean, the artwork is amazing in this.
Phenomenal artwork.
This is like Image, Dark Horse, DC level good. Like. Thumbs up to your art team. I tagged them on the Twitter post when I was promoting your appearance here, and they seem to be excited. I think 1 or 2 of them said something, and then like they also retweeted and all that fun stuff. But thumbs up. These guys did a fantastic job.
So even the particularly Martina's colors.
Oh my gosh,
are phenomenal, out of this world. The things she does with the rays of light. And just very like bright panels are phenomenal. I think it was one of the pages, like 3 or 4. There were some rays of light in it that were just awesome.
I mean, look at that dog's face. It's fantastic.
That derpy dog.
Well, and the other thing, and this is where I think a lot of indie creators fall short that you guys did a great job with was lettering. Like lettering is such a lot, it's an art in itself, and I say that because I letter my own stuff too, and it's really well done. The balloons are perfect. It doesn't look sloppy. It's really it's professional. Like if you told me this book came out from Image, I would believe it in 2 seconds.
Guys, I can't reiterate how thankful I am that all people agreed to work with me on this. It's just insane.
Yeah.
Like from Stephanie Cook, the editor, who's an amazing storyteller herself. She's got a couple books out right now. Like she's the editor of Tartarus. She's got Oh My God is coming out on I can't remember the publisher, but it's out right now. She's fantastic, and she really helped me kind of to form this story. And then with Tobin Rossico, who did the lettering and design work, like he is freakishly in demand right now because people are finally noticing how good he is.
Yeah, seriously.
You lucked out and you scooped him at the right time.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like he did work for Curtis Clow on like the Beastland series, and his that on Kickstarter making like 100 supporters, and the numbers he does are amazing. It's thanks to many different things, and just to focus on Alaire and Martina, like that's insane. I have 100% agree with you that they should be like, if not on Image, then on a big 2, because working together, it's insane. Like, the first time I worked with the Lair was for the first full-length comic I ever did, called God Said Hi, which is just an indie book. The story's okay, but the art's good. And seeing how much better Alaire has gotten, just currently as she evolves as an artist, is just staggering. And a cool thing about Martina is she's not just this incredible, dynamic, like, colorist. It's not just color. She's a color artist, and she's also an incredible, just character designer on her own. Follow her on Twitter. You'll see a bunch of Martina's own fantasies, and it's
Did she
bananas.
design the characters for this book?
The character design was all Alaire on this one.
Oh, okay. I like how
there was very
different
diverse,
everybody is.
very diverse characters. Just so unique. The turtle character, and I'm bad with names, so I do apologize.
No worries.
But the turtle character, like the cat character, the dragon, the warlock dragon type character, all of them were just so well designed. Their visual, their visual appearance matched their personalities. So it's just like, what they wore, how they looked, the things they said, their facial expressions, all very well matched the words that they were saying. And that's particular synergy between you as the writer and the artist itself,
But their storytelling is really well done too. Like they, that's the most important thing with sequential books. And even the action looks great. I mean, some artists can't draw action good, but this fantastic.
And I have to say,
I don't want to go too far because I want people to actually check this out. What's that?
The sound effects game in this comic is next level.
Yeah.
Like anytime I see yoink, that's like highly underrated sound effect. I was like, this comic speaks to me. Like, this is my dream.
Fantastic.
Again, Tobin is a genius. Like, I'm sorry to say like all the time, but I'm just so excited. If people don't immediately rush out and try and hire Tobin right now, they're insane. He's so good, and he has such a great sense of how to organize things. And that's why it's crazy. Tobin and Alaire are married. So they're a power couple in comics, and I feel like their time to shine in the spotlight is coming very soon.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the time of indies right now. I mean, with Marvel and DC kind of falling apart. I mean, I agree with you. I think these guys are going to find work every time. They're not going to be without work. They're good.
So can you talk a little bit more about the how inspiration for this book struck, in the sense of where did your inspirations come from? How did you start to source your artists and your creative team?
Well, the inspiration for the story again, it's just being a young adult, middle-aged adult, frustrated with kind of life, and it started with this interview I read from Scott Snyder, and this is again, but cliche if I have all the time, and his advice is hearkened to a lot. He was just talking about how he wrote, such amazing pieces for Batman. He's like, well, 300 I'm scared of. And then I worked that in as a base of a story and kind of work around that. And this one kind of started as a thing I'm scared of. Like, you're stuck in a spot that there's no way out, and the only escape you get from all these stressors is going with your buddies and having a killer game of D&D or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I get that from this issue. Big time.
I got like a little biographical vibe in that sense, especially with the twist ending.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure. Well, with the twist ending, and I think a tweet I saw earlier about loving your kids very much, but also being supremely frustrated by them.
That's the one.
And around that time frame, I just finished reading the book, and I'm like, I'm putting some pieces together. I don't have to be Columbo here to go, hey, one more thing to put the pieces together.
See, that's what's great about that, taking that frustration and that, and channeling it into a creative thing, So I love that. I love that you did this.
Yeah, absolutely. You have this wonderful story. You're like, okay, I got to get this thing made. What was your process there?
I had done a lot of like short comics as a hobby, but with this one, I came into it like I really want to get better at this. I want to surround myself with people who can make my story as good as it can be. And that's when I look back at people I'd previously worked with. Like I said, I worked with Alaire for this other comic I'd done, and Martina I had found through Reddit. There's a thread called Comic Book Collabs, I think it is, and that's where I found Alaire as well. And I worked with Martina on this Wolverine fan comic, and I just fell in love with the colors she used. So at first I asked Alaire, like, hey, would you be into doing a D&D kind of story? And she was like, yeah. And I said, that's great. And then I wrote to Martina. I was like, hey, do you want to try this D&D story? And she was like, yeah. And it just kept falling into place. I feel like things aren't supposed to fall into place this well. So I'm just waiting for something like some dude in Utah to be
The other
like,
foot to drop, yeah.
yeah, like, these are all my characters. I designed them. You're just getting sued.
That's, you know what that is? That's just like the creators like guilt or whatever, like the whole, or like Murphy's Law, you know what I mean? Like the like, oh, it's like it's going too good. It's like, oh, we're gonna pay for this one way or the other.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's pretty much what it's been the entire time we've been making this. Is this shouldn't be going so well? Like from the start to the Kickstarter to getting the second one Kickstarter funded as well. It's just banana people going up this book, and I don't know. It makes me feel really good. So,
well, it's
Awesome.
good. I mean, you're doing a lot of the things that even us, me and Keith and other people as creators have done where we found success in the past. And one of the things you mentioned is surrounding yourself with a bunch of really great creators. And it's like the individuals you surround yourself with also help elevate you as an individual and, you know, help you aspire to be, you know, even better, you know, personally. So I was just going to say, could you talk maybe a little bit more about like your independent inspirations, perhaps?
oh man, when I was working with a newspaper conglomerate called Emma, Michigan, we were doing sports giant call center, and it can be kind of grind, soul crunching, because you're just calling these poor coaches that just want to give you stats and get out of there, and you're trying to like get them information and stuff. And I found a couple people that were interested in comic books, and that kind of reinvigorated me. And they're like, you know, Image is putting out some cool stuff too. And I just remember thinking that's silly talk. Image is like Youngblood.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah.
And you read Saga, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is what the medium is capable of. And then you start like dialing back books from Vertigo and stuff like that. Like Why the Last Man and Ex Machina. As soon as you start getting that Brian K. Vaughan bug biting you. And it's neat to see how these creators were able to tell their stories in a way they wanted to without much editorial interference. If anything, the editors on there are just helping to like steel sharpening steel, where the story gets better without having to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And you just see that stuff, and you look at Dark Horse, especially in regards to Hellboy and just what Mignola is able to do. And it's impossible not to feel inspired, you know?
Even just your creatures that, you know, the creature characters that you had in your book, like Mignola definitely crossed my mind as I was reading through it, just because they're so unique and they're very Mignola-esque in some ways, you know?
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine if Mignola did a book with Wizards of the Coast for D&D or something like that?
Oh,
That'd be insane, right?
That's
like out of this world.
But
So
yeah.
take a second here to say hi to everybody in the chat. We got Roland with us tonight again. Hey, Roland, good to see you.
What up,
Ara's with
Roland?
us.
What up, Ara? Always good to see you
Always
here.
good to see them. Someone else had a comment here. I tried drawing, so now I write. I'm the same there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And let's see, we got my wife's joining us. Hey, Amy. Oh, hey, Ace Fett's with us tonight. Hey, Ace, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Don Chin with us tonight too. Hey, Keith.
Prior
Johnny
guest
C.
Don Chin.
Don Chin. Do you know who Don Chin is, Grant?
I don't, but hi, Don.
Yeah. Do you ever hear of adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters? from the 80s.
No, but now I need to look this up.
He's Dunchin's like a legend in the indie comics. He was making indie comics in the 80s, like selling like 70,000 copies of his book.
Stuff along the line, like spoof material along the lines of like Mad and Cracked magazine.
Oh yeah,
that's John's work.
Can you imagine selling 70,000 copies of your book nowadays? I mean, that's like a top 10 book. You know what I mean? Now,
isn't that bonkers to think about?
Yeah, like in the 80s, how different it was. You know, like we'd be kings. You know.
Well, it's scale, right? If you think about it, then to now, it's like half of the problem is that it's so easy to create and publish comics that there's this wave essentially, and it's hard to kind of break through that. Whereas back then you could, create a small little black and white comic book about, Ninja Turtles that were, fighting like, some guy named Shredder that could actually become a TV series and then like a mega thing,
Yeah.
It was just a lot easier because there were fewer and far between opportunities for these things to flourish.
Well, it was also, you got to think too, at the time, it was a lot harder to print something because like you actually had to deal with like real printing presses, It wasn't like Kablam where you just send like a couple electronic files. No, seriously, it's just, the way they used to do lettering back then is they would overlay it like on the acetate, Yeah. Can you just imagine doing that today? It would just be no one would be doing comics, It'll just be chaos. But so you are you said the second one's close to being completed now of Sidequest. Awesome. And are you guys going to be launching that on a crowdfunder soon?
Oh no, it has already been funded.
It has already been funded. Oh, great! I didn't know that. Oh, awesome! That's even good. That's great. So when is that coming out?
Let's see. Tentatively, if we finish compiling the book, because Tobin's got most of the lettering complete, I just need to do another dialogue check. Because you ever like get the letters back and you're like, oh my gosh, what I wrote them saying makes no sense.
Yeah. That's why I letter my own books, Grant. There's so many times when when you write the script, you're like, this is perfect. Then you get the artwork back and you're like, I got a better idea here now, and I kind of George Lucas it in the final stage,
I want to learn how to letter solely for the fact that I hate having to send Justin Birch edits.
Oh,
yeah.
I just don't want to bother the poor guy. Like 80% of his
part of the
schedule
job,
work.
though, Johnny. Like whenever I letter someone else's book, I kind of expect that,
Right.
So.
But yeah, we got to get the letters back. I have to scan in this incredible piece of artwork that Michael Shelfer, who used to work on Domino with Gail Simone, that he did for the book. Once we get all that stuff, Tobin formats it and compiles it, and then we send it to the printers, and we use Mixum. They did a really good job with the first issue, like with the cardstock covers and
really
stuff.
Good. The what was I gonna say? Like I lost my train of thought. I was gonna say I can't remember. Johnny, you got anything?
Yeah. Cheesesteak? What kind of cheese are you gonna put in there, man? Is it like what's the cheese that goes with your cheesesteak?
Well, I feel like Havarti is the most underrated of cheeses. I love a good Havarti, but I feel like for a cheesesteak, you got to pair it with provolone. I don't really want to mess around with American cheese. I know it's probably kind of, sacrilegious to say it on the East Coast, but man, you just need like a good, tasty white cheese to put on there.
So I remember what I was going to ask.
So you don't subscribe to the Whiz Camp, right? No Cheese Whiz on there?
Hell no. I know that. Like, I eat so much garbage. So.
That's the thing. I love eating garbage food, but I have to be selective about it now because I'm old and chubby. And
yeah, I'm at that point too.
So I'm like, okay, I have to plan out my trash accordingly.
Yeah. I try to. You think this?
That's why I've been planning the sandwich for like 3 days. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get the banh mi. I'm gonna do it on Wednesday night.
It's a
sounds
celebration, right?
And by the way, the fact you can get a banh mi sub length is
Yeah.
just I wasn't prepared for that. It blew my mind.
Have you ever had banh mi before?
Oh yeah.
So you know what to expect.
I've never had it with the sub roll. I've only had it with like the pillowy
Like the bun, right? Like the the pork bun. No, this is like the straight up legit banh mi. Keith, it's basically Chinese barbecued pork or sirloin.
Okay.
And then they do pickled carrots, daikon, pate. It's just this combination of flavors that just hits perfectly.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
So good.
Interesting. My garbage go-to has always been cereal, so it's my favorite. I always try whatever new sugary garbage that comes out.
See, that's what I want to do, but it doesn't agree with me anymore. I wrecked my stomach growing up, like just eat the word all the time. Now if I eat too much cereal, that's like, oh, you putting dairy in here now? You putting white flour in here? Oh, that's not going to go well at all, bro.
Red alert!
And I remember what I was going to ask you, Grant. Like, for someone who's seeing the book tonight on our channel, is there a place they could go to buy it?
Yeah, you can get it on. It's on Comixology right now.
Okay. So they can get it digitally there. Can they get physical copies for the people that like physical books?
Working on it.
Okay.
We have to put issue 1 back to the printers because there was a tier where you can get both 1 and 2 physical.
Okay.
But yeah, once we get all that stuff taken care of, I probably should. I'm so bad at this. Like, books. I don't like planning all the other stuff.
My family uses craft singles and cheese whiz from Roland.
Yo, I bet that tastes amazing, though.
Oh, hey, Roland, I just noticed your avatar of cockatiel. Me and my wife had one that died a few years ago, but those birds are great. Love those birds. Anyways, sorry, didn't mean to derail the sandwich.
The sandwich talk. A very important sandwich talk. Great. And now, as a creator, have you exhibited places where you were selling your work?
No. This is
okay. We're gonna get on the con circuits around here once the coronavirus is behind us all. Yeah, you should definitely come.
Because
you should come to my show. When we finally get it going, I run a convention in Fitchburg called Plastic City Comic Con.
Oh, no kidding!
Yeah,
That's Entertainment is my comic store.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was just there today.
Oh my gosh, they've got vinyl and they've got the comics.
Yeah,
so I'm just like walking around.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's awesome. Have you been to the one in Worcester yet?
No, not yet.
You should go there. It's same vibe, but like triple the size. It's like almost like a warehouse.
Fucking huge, kid.
Yeah. Tons of stuff there. Tons of stuff.
I like looking at all the stuff.
Yeah. Take a trip down there some weekend.
You can definitely like that money that you were saving. You can definitely blow that walking into that place easily.
Yeah, definitely.
That's why I'm stoked to get our tax returns in so we can get the return and just be like, okay, now this is for buying records and comics because I earned it.
There you go. That's what tax returns are for, right?
I've actually found myself like slicing like $50 out of like every paycheck just to like go to Kickstarter or Indiegogo. You know what I mean? Because it just, especially now in the in the midst of the pandemic where we don't have conventions. Normally I was traveling all the time. So I just, take a break from my table, go wander through Artist Alley. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. Pick it up. And now I've got like a nice stack of new reading material. Now I just wander through Kickstarter, shave off that $50, and then just kind of like pepper it here and there to stuff that catches my eye,
Yeah. Kickstarter is the truth right now. I honestly believe that we're in a golden age of comics because, like you said, it's a lot easier to put out work, and you're seeing so many creators put out so many unique things and they're not being held back.
Yeah, and Kickstarters, Kickstarter is more effective in getting comics to people
Oh my
than
gosh.
Diamond Comics is. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, isn't that goofy?
legit, like it's legit distribution, you know, like, and you know it's going to someone, whereas Diamond, you know, your stuff goes to a store, but it's not necessarily going to somebody, you know.
Mhm.
You never know if it's selling or if, you know what I mean, like, so
Yeah, oh yeah.
whereas a Kickstarter, you know, you're selling it to somebody and they're actually going to read it, you know.
Those early days of self-publishing, it's like if you're going to self-publish, if you weren't going to go chasing after a publisher, it's like you had to go travel, you had to go exhibit. You know, that was such a critical component. Now you can just do everything from Kickstarter if you need.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
no, it's true. It's. I mean, it's a lot of work putting one of those together. You know, like I did Indiegogo this last year, and that just getting the pictures and oh my god, all that stuff. You know, it's like a nightmare. You know.
Oh my, it's a huge task, and I feel bad for people that are like, "Oh, I'm thinking of putting together crowdfunding. Is it easy?" And all you can say is,
like,
No,
it's not."
That's why not everyone does it. You know, so but
I've been threatening a Kickstarter for like 4 months, silently building it in the background. Every time I'm like, oh yeah, I think I'm gonna launch on this date. Like Jeff Ryder comes in, my buddy Jeff, our mutual friend Jeff comes in. Oh, I'm taking this date. He goes, no, now I'm pushing it to this date.
And then you got Jared's book coming out, and you're like, I'm not going up against Mexicans with swords. That's foolish.
Yeah, absolutely foolish. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I wouldn't want to cross swords with Jared. Let's just say that.
Nah.
It's hard to find a date because no matter when you do it, someone else has got, you know, there's a million projects going on, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, on the plus side, like we're all in this together. So when someone says like, I can't get this now, I'll try and get it later. You're just like, yeah, I understand. If you want to retweet this instead, that's extremely helpful. Because we all know that, you know, cash isn't exactly flowing in the streets. So
well, that and it's like you feel bad for spamming people, but it's like, you know, it's like you're trying to get something done, but you know, it's like, so you try to find that balance of like, all right, I gotta put out, you know, 5 tweets about something else before I my promo tweet in, you know.
Oh yeah.
What's it? What? 2 for them, 1 for you, kind of thing.
Yeah, right. It's like making odds makers at a casino or something, you know.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
So you told us in the green room too. This is sort of a planned mini series. Like it's going to be 5 issues when it's finished. It definitely, from what I read about it, if you love fantasy, if you love Dungeons and Dragons, this is your book. Like if you like saga, if you like stuff like that, this is definitely your jam. And you like comedy. It felt like isn't Ratcatchers very similar to this kind of a book where it's like kind of got a little bit of a comedy in it, but it's a fantasy book, right? Is it?
Yeah, well, like the 2 books that I just admire so much and wanted to kind of not emulate but use them as a blueprint is Rat Queens and Skull Kickers.
Oh, I remember Skull Kickers, Jim Zub.
Yeah, like they're just perfect in terms of setting a tone, like a comedic tone, and then they build everything off of it because the group dynamics are sharp, the dialogue is sharp. They work the drama around those group dynamics, and just put in a fantasy world, you can't go wrong.
It reminded me, not to equate it back to a TV series, but a little bit of Community. You ever see that show?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Like it could have been the D&D episode of Community from the D&D side.
Oh my god!
Do you know what I mean?
That episode is just
it's so good. It's so good. But I feel like you captured something that is in that vein very well, you know. And anybody who can say watch an episode of Community, any episode, not just the D&D one, and read this, I feel like could also get on board very easily, you know.
Oh jeez. Well,
and this is only your second comic series, you said?
Yeah. This aside from the shorts I've done, I did one like 22-page one with a lair, which is you can get that on Mascots as well. but it's worth getting just to look at the cover that my buddy Andy Budd did. He did like oil painting and made this mosaic. It's just, I own two pieces of original art. It's that piece from Michael Shelfer and this cover. And
the God Says Hi, that one?
Yeah.
All right, let me see if I can take
Let's bring it up.
Yeah, let me bring it up here.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Don't you love it when you have like a piece of work of something you created that you love the art for so much, you know?
And you said this is there a full image of the cover somewhere? Is it that on Comixology?
Yeah.
I think this is from your website. Let's see. Shop. I'll just go to Comixology.
Yeah, probably the safest bet.
Rather than just clicking around.
So what's the basic premise on God Says Hi? I don't think I got a chance to look into that one.
Oh, it's I'm really interested in like futurism and religion.
Okay.
I kind of thought about like what happens when science and religion kind of go hand in hand, and mankind gets bold enough to want to actually see the face of God. So they're harnessing time travel to go back to the beginning of creation.
Oh, cool.
That reminds me of the anti-version of Prince of Darkness. John Carpenter. You ever see that one, Grant?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, dude,
so
you need to see it. It's a horror movie. It's by Carpenter. It's
really good.
It was basically like the, science and religion come together, tried to open like a gate to hell.
Oh, dude.
If you love that kind of stuff, this is right up your alley. You'd love it.
That sounds intense.
Yeah,
it's worth it for Alice Cooper as like a Satanist bum.
That's true. That's true.
It's a great movie. Great movie. Donald Pleasant's amazing in it. Yeah, Johnny's right. It's a great movie to see. This cover is amazing too.
Yeah, Andy's another guy out of Grand Rapids. He graduated from Kendall School of Art and Design. He's incredible. He and Kenny Porter were going to be working on a comic a couple of years ago, but each of them got kind of waylaid. He's incredibly talented, and he just needs a break.
Yeah, I mean, it looks it. Someone else said, book Ryan looks Santos. Great. Good luck, Ryan.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for checking in, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks for coming by, Ryan. Appreciate that. Haven't seen him in a while. He's one of the guys we see at conventions a lot. Oh, yeah, this looks awesome, man. So, and this is just a one-shot kind of story. I'll have to check that out. Unfortunately, I don't read a lot of digital, but I will read it. You know, if it falls in my lap. I'm still a physical guy for some reason. I still love physical copies.
So I find myself with a Dropbox folder full of digital rewards from Kickstarters. I wish there was a app. So anybody who's an app developer out there, I wish there was an app that could aggregate your PDFs from Kickstarter rewards into a Netflix format where it's like a digital bookshelf where you can go, okay, I want to, what do I want to read today?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Through and and then just read through it. Somebody's got to create that app.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like Comixology kind of does that, like when you buy a bunch of their stuff, but like as far as like getting independent like PDFs put into something, I don't think anyone's done that.
I have a ton of digital Kickstarter rewards. Number one, they're the easiest to support.
Yeah.
Especially when times are tough, you can't get the hard copy.
Yeah, but you want to show your support. I've done that a few times. Yeah.
Right. So, I end up with a folder full of stuff. And it's just like you said, Keith, I like having the physical book, but like having a tablet is like not so bad. That's kind of easy. But managing those PDFs or the CBRs or however they come through can be difficult. We need a uniform app.
Yeah.
That can read all of it,
Anyone out there, get on that.
Get on that.
I also saw on your website, Grant, that you've written for CBR before. Is that?
Yeah, I was doing some list work for them.
Mm-hmm.
But then when the pandemic hit, they're like, "Hey, we're going to cut pay by half," and I was like, "I don't want to do that anymore. Thank you."
Wow, I'm actually surprised they were paying you. That's. I mean, like I always feel like those sites are just like we'll pay you an exposure, like the worst thing anyone could hear.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was a fun little gig. Like just putting they have a list of predetermined list topics, and you just kind of go through and you pick out which ones you want to do, and it was fun.
So it's like those like typical like top 10 reasons why this is the best whatever, or what I mean?
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
I think the best one I got to do was like, who's better, regular Wolverine or Ultimate Wolverine? And that was just, oh my gosh, because I love the Ultimate comic line. I have a bunch of those old Ultimate X-Men's. So I'm just busting them out, and I'm like,
But you know what? The funny thing is, those books particularly are such a product of that era.
Oh yeah,
that they were made in, that they were so wild and extreme, and it's like that Wolverine is such a different animal, literally, than the 616 Wolverine. So I that article, I'm sure, is kind of a pretty awesome to break down all those differences.
Oh, it was a blast, especially when
CBR
you get to look
so
at
much better than like Newsarama too. Like they were making me mad these last few weeks with the WandaVision spoilers. They love to they're horrible. Like I'm scrolling through like when the first episode dropped, and they're like, who is Grim Reaper and why was he in WandaVision? And it's like, guys, come on, like
So at movie preview, we pulled a WandaVision spoiler for the 6th episode, I believe. And then we were like heavily debating on whether we should put it out there or not, because it's they've actually talked about it. It's like the Luke Skywalker from Mandalorian level.
Yeah, I heard about
spoiler for WandaVision. Well, it's been leaked, so we already kind of know, and we debated as to whether to put it out.
You could always put it out with the spoiler thing if you want to know. Look into the article,
Yeah, we've debated that, but then we're also like, you know what? We don't want to kind of put it out there because it's been so nice to have this thing where it's like week to week, you're talking about this water cooler talk, and thanks for sharing more spoilers, Steve. Hey, we started the whole thing with spoilers for Secret Wars.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So I mean, come on.
Yeah, right. I found a spoiler for WandaVision. I'll have to share it with you guys. I haven't seen any of it yet. I'm stockpiling it so I can just binge.
So you prefer the binge model over the week?
Actually, I think the binge model would be better for this show because of the pace of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm gathering from all the different critiques I'm skimming. But yeah, I did that with The Mandalorian too. I tried to wait until season 2 was completed, but I just couldn't. So I started watching halfway through, and I'm like, I have to wait another week. I forgot how much I hate appointment television.
I like the make your own schedule of like a binge program, but I also do miss like the week to week kind of anticipating, like building up. Like I think that's part of what built the first season of American Horror Story was like that. It was like there was literally a mystery per episode each week that you kind of had to like, oh my God, what's going to happen next week? It was the typical soap opera, keep you on the hook kind of thing, very, the same method that we use in comics, issue per issue, So
I like that though, because it gives me a level playing field with all the people that as soon as they drop a show have already watched it within 8 hours, and it's like
that's the worst.
Yeah, and they're spoiling it like crazy, and it's just like, hey guys, not everyone watches shows like you. You know what I mean? It's just
there's some people who eat it up right away, and then next thing you know, like they're already on to the next thing, and you're still in the middle of the last thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's just annoying. Like, I like when they do the week to week because it's like you can digest it more. Although I think like WandaVision, like the way it's been paced, like this one actually would benefit from dropping all the issues at once, or not the issues, but the episodes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting.
It's in that regard.
is the episode I'm waiting for.
I'll watch that.
I wonder how many touchdowns Vision scored in high school.
I would watch this episode. You know, this would be on heavy rotation if this was real. Thought you guys would enjoy that.
Instead of no ma'am, it's no mutants.
No mutants.
Grant, all right. If you wanted to go and give plugs and shout outs for people can find you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm mostly active on Twitter. It's just at Grant and stuff because I love coming up with really innovative, cool new names.
Put that in the description of the video too. So if anyone wants to follow Grant, just go down in the description when this hits our channel and follow him.
But also shout out to any collaborators or potential next products you have working on.
I just announced today that I'm putting together this anthology, a holiday horror anthology called Yule, Dreadful Tales for the Holiday Season. We're kicking that off on Kickstarter in April, and it's just bananas. This is another example of like, I asked people if they wanted to do stuff for a comic, and they said yes, and they shouldn't have said yes. This is this.
What is it going to be, like an anthology book with like a bunch of different creators?
Yeah, it's going to be I think 14 stories, each one 3 to 5 pages. So it's short horror based off of Christmas, Yuletide, winter solstice folklore from. And we dropped the cover today by Donna Black, and she just does an amazing job. It's horrifying. It's got Krampus and Elf on the Shelf.
This is on your Twitter?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it here. I definitely want to check it out. And so when is that Kickstarter dropping?
That'll be April. We're going to try and have as much as we can finished by March.
So did you already finish submissions on that, or is that open?
It's finished. Right now we're working through, we've got a couple finished with artwork. We got a couple that just need outline to script formats. But yeah, everyone's chugging along, and I love that.
Gorgeous! What an awesome cover!
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Donna, and Letter Squids did the design work for the title and that little deer antler icon as well. And jeez, yeah,
I love it.
That's great. How many creators do you have involved in the book?
Maybe 30.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I'm dumbfounded these people wanted to do this, but they did, and I'm super stoked. We've even got Justin Jordan and Val Halverson from Finger Guns doing a story together.
Oh wow! Cool. Justin Jordan, he did
Luther Strode.
He did Luther Strode. Yeah, I love that book. That's a great series.
And recently did awesome fantasy story too.
He did he do that Curse of Brimstone for DC Comics too? Yeah, I like that title. I kind of wish that didn't go away. That was a good book.
Yeah, and Sideways. I think he worked on the Sideways book for them too.
Oh yeah, you're right. I think he did. And those it was those DC Age of New Heroes books, Johnny.
Oh right, yeah.
There was like about 10 new titles or something like that. Most of them were pretty good, actually.
I do remember when they did that. It was like a short run kind of thing, right?
Yeah. It was pretty good. This looks great. I'll definitely check this out when you guys drop it on Kickstarter.
So is this your first anthology, or have you done a few before?
No, this is my first. It shouldn't be this easy. I have no idea how this works.
And then I feel like Roland had a good comment here. That whole binging model has really hurt anime, making it quite the wasteful consumable. Yeah, I agree. But anyways, sorry. Sorry to sidetrack you there. What were you saying?
I can't even remember.
Doesn't matter.
So you're gonna do this one. Are you guys gonna be launching another Sidequest 2 this year?
Yeah.
Oh wow, you guys are busy.
Yeah, it's weird. I never realized how nice it would be to just be working on stuff that you are passionate about.
Yeah, no, it's great.
It doesn't feel like work. I'm trying to make edits. I got the first round of edits back from Stephanie for SideQuest 3 script, so I got to finish that up, send it back to her, and then see where that's at, and then we'll get our sample pages and a couple pinups and launch the Kickstarter.
Nice. Any plans to pitch it to a publisher?
I have thrown it out to a couple.
Oh, good. Just waiting to hear back, and nice. I honestly, I think it's good enough to be published with somebody. You know, it definitely. Yeah. I wish you luck. I mean, the publishing game is tough. I've done my share, so
it's a tough time to be doing it, but it's such a wonderful product. It's a wonderful piece of work that I don't see why you would have a problem, getting picked up somewhere.
It's definitely a cut above. And the thing is, it's like, even if you don't get a publisher, you already have, you have fan. I'm sure the Kickstarters were both successful, right? Was your second one? This is what I'm curious about too. Was your second one more successful than your first one?
We got more new readers on the second one than we did the first one.
Yeah, see, and that's what Diamond squashes big time. I have a book with Alterna Comics, and basically left Diamond this year when DC did.
Oh wow, yeah.
And he's making more money going direct to the consumer than through Diamond, which is crazy. He said that the problem with Diamond and the reason it's hard to build a readership there is they make it so they constrict you with how many copies you can sell. So a number one will always sell really good, but then there's the drop off from 2, 3, and 4, going down.
Yeah.
And when Diamond, as soon as you reach a certain level, they don't distribute the book anymore, and it's a hard way to grow your title. Whereas you do a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo, and you can do the new issue, but then you can also offer the previous issues and build that readership, and then they come with you for the next one. So it's almost like you bring a whole, you know what I mean? So it's really a good model for building a readership and then building a series, so much better.
Have you guys heard about what Scout Comics is doing?
I know that they're kind of like the hip publisher now. They're trying to do a kids line too, a young reader thing, right?
They opened up a couple different imprints, and what their model is, they had a press release a month or so back. They're releasing the first and second issues, and then giving a month or so in between those for the third one, just to see if people want to up their orders and keep renewing for the third one. I thought that was
idea.
It's brilliant, and they're offering
interesting.
The comics for sale on their site as well. That's how I got Metal Shark Bro, was through their site directly. It was awesome. They made buying comics very easy.
Yeah,
we and Johnny both know
Joe Schmalke, right?
Yeah. Did you see that they got optioned for the Electric Black to be made into an adult animated kind of series?
Wow, that's great news!
No kidding. Starburn Industries, the ones that make Rick and Morty. So.
Oh, very cool. So they're on their way to Adult Swim.
Yeah, it's being developed. Yeah, I know. Nice. I wish them luck.
Couldn't have happened to a better creator. Let me tell you.
Yeah, both of those guys are awesome. So. But they're with Scout too. Right?
We're only a matter of time before Sidequest. We're watching Sidequest on either Adult Swim or Comedy Central. I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, I could see it being on either.
If you could have it your way, Grant, what would you see it like? If you could adapt your own material, how would you do it?
I would definitely do animated, and man, being on Adult Swim is just. Because I loved Harvey Birdman, and I loved all those, the dumb things that they've done in the past. All of it's amazing. So getting on that, that's just, geez. I'd be worried I'd have a heart attack if they said yes, and I wouldn't be able to actually see it come to fruition. You know?
I know, right? Well, like let's hope that it gets developed and goes to a series. I mean, because how many
I'm
times have you
confident.
seen? I am too. You see a lot of people that get the announcement, but then you never see the product. So hopefully, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for those guys that it actually happens. Because
Yeah,
I
we're
love
still
both
waiting for
those
Everett
dudes.
Hartso's Razor movie.
What is that?
We're still
What
waiting
is-
on Everett Hartso's Razor movie.
No idea.
You don't remember Razor from the 90s?
Oh yeah, I do remember Razor.
Yeah.
That was going to be made into a movie.
Oh yeah.
I had no idea. That's awesome. All right, well, we're at the hour mark, so I guess we should start wrapping this up. Let me see if there's any other comments here. Someone just said something about Krampus. Krampus, Santa's Dark Shadow, one of my favorite stories. Yeah, definitely check out. You will follow Grant on Twitter for announcements.
Umar wrote a really crazy examination of Krampus mythology for his short story. I'm super excited to see what it's going to look like.
That's awesome. All right, and so Grant, if people find you, go to the Twitter. I'll put the website in the description as well. And if you have any, whenever the Kickstarter goes live, feel free tagging me and Johnny on Twitter.
Oh, absolutely! Thank you.
We'll definitely retweet it for you,
and definitely come back on when the next Kickstarter comes around, so that way we can promote it. Hope we'll get you a few new readers. We we love the story, so we definitely want to promote it.
And I just want to see what sandwich you're eating.
Yeah, right.
One more time.
I want to see what sandwich you're gonna have next time.
Oh yeah,
right. Crazy.
Yeah, that's gonna be another segment, Johnny. Johnny, I was thinking too. One thing we could do, because we're already booked into May. Can you believe that? It's freaking nuts. Like how many people want to be on our show? It's like crazy.
That's awesome.
No, it's amazing. Like I never dreamed that would happen. When we started this channel,
we appreciate everybody's interest too. Yeah, it's great. Well, I mean, all we really want to do is give a platform for creators to promote their material and share the hard work that they put into the books that they make, and it makes us happy to be able to do that and to give people an opportunity to discover new pieces of work like Sidequest.
Yeah, and I've discovered a lot of new creators and new comics just from this channel, which is amazing. So. Grant, I probably would have never have seen your comic if you didn't send it to us, and probably if you started doing conventions, I probably would have seen it eventually. But you should come do conventions in the New England area, hang out with me and Johnny, and
Oh yeah,
we have a blast at the shows. Just don't think you're gonna make money,
We'll go for banh mi's in person.
Yeah, there you go. So, Johnny, you got anything going on? Anything you want to shout out to the audience?
Nothing aside from we just submitted for the third story in our Cthulhu is Hard to Spell series. So the third book is coming, and we just submitted the third, our third story in the Hyster series that we've done in the previous two volumes.
Completely done?
It's not completely done. We just submitted. We're waiting to hear back. But basically, the third anthology book is coming. It's one of the most popular books of 2020. Actually, it was the only book I sold at C2E2 last year. So it's the first and second volumes are pretty popular. Third one's coming soon. Keep an eye out for that.
You'll let us know when the Kickstarter is live and all that, right?
Yeah, for sure. And again, like I said before, I'm building a Kickstarter for Surrounded by Death. I'll drop that eventually. I've been promising months, and then Jeff Ryder just comes in and takes my date. So I'm going to wait for Jeff to finish his Kickstarter, and then we'll.
What's that? What's Jeff Ryder's Kickstarter? Which one is that?
That's going to be for Captain Holmes. Major Holmes.
Oh,
and Captain
yeah,
Watson.
I think I've seen that one. Did you tweet that or something, or retweet it?
I did, yeah.
I saw that, yeah.
Dude, it's good. It's a good series.
It is a good series. We're gonna have to get Jeff on the show sometime.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to him.
He did mention coming on. It's just a matter of schedule.
Yeah, let's line it up. Yeah, like I said, if we have to do bonus episodes outside the normal schedule, we can. Or another idea I was throwing around is if someone wanted to come on one of the regular shows and just be a co-host with us, and then we could like promote them that way too, you know.
Oh, that works. Yeah, that works a lot too. The only other thing I'm going to say is just really, if you're on Twitter, follow at Grant and stuff.
Yeah, and then follow me and Johnny right after that. I don't really have, yeah, right. I don't really have too much to promote right now. Got the X-Files story with Don.
New studio.
The new studio. Still working on the new issues of Mighty Mascots. Those should be coming soon, hopefully. A couple setbacks with Ian and COVID and all that fun stuff up in Indonesia. So
everything's up in the air now.
He's healthy and everything's starting to move again. So I should start be getting pages anytime now. But
cool.
All right, we'll wrap it up for this episode of Indie Comics Relay. Subscribe, like the video. We drop new content every Wednesday, whether it's a live stream or a comic review. So definitely check it out. And another thing, Johnny, I forgot to mention, my wife, Amy, she started making some process videos of her drawing. Like she got have you heard of that system, the Procreate, which a lot of artists are using now? So she started recording her drawings, and she's gonna, give them to me to put on the channel for artists that just want to check it out, and people that just love watching drawing videos and stuff. So
just another little piece of content to come back to the channel outside of our Buy Wednesdays,
Yeah, exactly. So I figure I might drop those. Any ones that she does on the weekend, I'll put it up on the weekend or something, and let people know. So,
any other final words, Grant?
Nah, just live life, eat sandwiches.
Yes.
Live life, eat sandwiches, yes. and we can't end it any better than that. So, all right, everybody, let's we're gonna play the outro, and we'll be back.
Thank you all for joining us.
I don't know who our next guest is. I know it's on the schedule. Sebastian's next. Okay, cool. Yeah,
in the next episode. Yep.
Awesome. Looking forward to talking to him. All right, guys. Have a good night. We'll see you in 2 weeks with Sebastian.